The first thing that disappeared was the date. Not from a calendar, not from a phone. It vanished from reality itself. 3 of us watched it happen. One moment, my wristwatch displayed May 28th, 2026. The next, the numbers blurred, twisted, and settled on May 29th. Outside the observatory window, the sun had not moved. The sky remained frozen in the same bruised orange twilight. Only the date had changed, and by then, it was already far too late to stop what we had awakened. It started 4 months earlier when a restoration team uncovered something impossible beneath the layers of an 18th century landscape painting stored in the archives of a small museum in northern Italy. The artwork itself seemed unremarkable at first glance. A winding valley, a distant mountain range, a river disappearing into fog. The signature belonged to an obscure clockmaker named Elias Voss, a man whose existence occupied barely 2 pages in local historical records. The strange discovery occurred during a routine pigment analysis. When exposed to a specific wavelength of reflected moonlight during testing, hidden silver markings began to emerge beneath the paint. Not paint, ink, lines, symbols, coordinates. At first, experts assumed it was a forgery added centuries later. Yet chemical testing confirmed the silver ink was older than the visible painting itself. The map had been there from the beginning, buried beneath the artwork, waiting. That discovery drew attention from historians, astronomers, cryptographers, and eventually me. My name is Adrian Mercer. I specialize in historical mechanical systems, ancient clocks, automata, forgotten engineering. I had spent years studying impossible machines created by minds centuries ahead of their time. Nothing prepared me for Elias Voss. The deeper we investigated the painting, the stranger it became. The silver symbols did not correspond to any known language. Some appeared hidden within brushstrokes themselves, tiny curves disguised as shadows, angles concealed inside trees. The landscape wasn't depicting a place. It was disguising instructions. For weeks our team worked to decode the symbols. Every answer revealed new questions. The map outlined a route through remote regions untouched by modern development. Locations that should not have connected geometrically somehow formed an enormous spiral stretching across multiple countries. At the center stood a point marked by a symbol resembling an eye enclosed within interlocking gears. A forgotten coordinate, no village, no landmark, nothing. At least according to modern maps. When we overlaid historical surveys from the 18th century, a structure appeared, an observatory, built by Elias Voss himself, destroyed sometime during the 19th century, or so historians believed. The coordinate rested in one of the most isolated mountain regions in Europe. Satellite imagery revealed dense forests covering the location. No visible ruins, no roads, no signs of civilization. The more we studied the map, the more a disturbing pattern emerged. Every coordinate along the route corresponded not merely to locations, but to measurements of time. Solar positions, lunar cycles, planetary alignments. The path wasn't guiding travelers through geography, it was navigating chronology. I still remember the silence in the research room when Sophia made the realization. She stared at the equations scattered across a whiteboard. Then she whispered something that made everyone stop working. "This isn't leading to a treasure." Nobody responded. She pointed at a series of longitudinal calculations. "It's leading to tomorrow." The room fell silent. Sophia was our astronomer. Brilliant, obsessive, usually skeptical. That was why hearing those words from her unsettled everyone. She explained that the coordinates converged toward a theoretical location tied to Earth's rotational progression. a moving threshold, the precise origin point where one day became the next. Not metaphorically, physically. According to the calculations hidden within the painting, tomorrow had a geographic beginning, and Elias Voss had known where to find it. Most people dismissed the idea immediately, but not all of us, because strange things had already begun happening around the painting. Small things at first, watches gaining hours overnight, digital clocks freezing at impossible times, visitors reporting déjà vu episodes lasting several minutes. One museum employee claimed he lived the same conversation twice. Nobody believed him, until surveillance footage appeared to support his story. A camera recorded him speaking with a colleague. 23 minutes later, the identical conversation occurred again. Word for word, same movements, same gestures, same ending. The footage was authentic. No explanation ever emerged. That was when our expedition was approved. 5 researchers, 1 destination. The coordinate hidden inside the painting. By the time we reached the mountains, May had nearly ended. The forest surrounding the location felt wrong from the beginning. Not dangerous, wrong. Birdsong vanished as we approached. Wind seemed muffled. Even our footsteps sounded distant. The deeper we traveled, the more isolated reality itself appeared. GPS devices lost accuracy. Compasses drifted. Timepieces slowly fell out of synchronization. At first, differences measured seconds, then minutes, then nearly an hour. By the 3rd day, every watch displayed a different time, yet none appeared broken. We found the observatory shortly before sunset. It stood hidden beneath centuries of overgrowth. Massive stone walls emerged from tangled vegetation, copper domes blackened with age, towering gears visible through shattered windows. The structure should have collapsed long ago. Instead, it looked preserved, waiting. The air smelled metallic, not rust, something sharper. Like cold blood, our lights swept across enormous mechanisms lining the interior chambers. Thousands of gears, chains, counterweights, rotating cylinders covered in astronomical markings. The machinery remained functional, slowly moving, ticking, breathing. That was the only word that fit. The observatory felt alive. Every few seconds, distant mechanical sounds echoed through the darkness. Clicks, shifts, rotations, as though some colossal heart continued beating beneath the mountain. We discovered Elias Voss's journals in a locked chamber beneath the main tower. The pages were remarkably preserved, leather-bound volumes filled with sketches and observations. At first, the entries appeared scientific: calculations, planetary measurements, mechanical diagrams. Then the writing changed, became frantic, obsessive, terrified. Voss described time as a substance, a fluid, an invisible current flowing across Earth. He claimed ancient civilizations once understood its existence. According to the journals, time did not emerge uniformly across the world. It originated from a single point, a source, a wound in reality. Tomorrow wasn't merely approaching, it was being manufactured, generated, distributed, regulated. And beneath the observatory lay the mechanism responsible. A machine Voss called the mechanical heart. The more we read, the more disturbing the entries became. Voss claimed the heart was older than humanity, older than civilization, possibly older than Earth itself. He never explained who built it, only that its purpose was maintaining chronological continuity. Without it, the flow of time would fracture. One passage still haunts me. I can recite it from memory. Do not arrive at the beginning of tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. The human mind was not designed to witness creation. At the time, it sounded poetic. Now I know it was a warning. Night fell quickly. We remained inside the observatory. None of us wanted to leave. The building seemed to exert a strange pull. As darkness deepened, subtle anomalies emerged. Shadows moved incorrectly, reflections lagged behind movements, voices echoed before people spoke. I heard Sophia call my name from an empty hallway. When I found her moments later, she insisted she had not spoken. Then she turned pale, because she had heard my voice too, hours before I actually said anything. Near midnight, one of our team members disappeared, Jonas, the cryptographer. He left to investigate sounds beneath the lower chambers. He never returned. We searched for hours. Nothing. No footprints, no blood, no signs of struggle. Only his flashlight, still illuminated, resting beside a wall covered in fresh scratches, deep grooves carved into stone, as though someone had desperately tried to claw their way through solid rock. The next morning we found something worse, a journal entry. Not in Voss's handwriting, Jonas's handwriting, written inside one of the empty pages. The ink appeared decades old, yet the words described events that had occurred only hours earlier, including his own disappearance. The final sentence read, "It already knows which version of me survives." Nobody understood what it meant, but fear settled over the expedition like a disease. Still, we continued. Curiosity outweighed caution. That mistake cost us everything. Using Voss's calculations, Sophia determined the exact gear ratios required to access the observatory's inner sanctum. The machine had been waiting for a specific celestial alignment, May 2026. The planetary positions matched Taku configurations documented in the journals, an event occurring only once every few centuries, perhaps longer. Every calculation led toward sunset on May 28th that evening. As the sun descended, we began adjusting the gears. Thousands of teeth meshed together across enormous rotating assemblies. The sound reverberated through the entire mountain. Metal grinding, chains tightening, ancient mechanisms awakening. The observatory trembled, dust cascaded from ceilings. Deep below us, something immense shifted. Then came the first scream. It echoed from somewhere beneath the floor. Human, terrified, familiar. It sounded exactly like Jonas. The scream lasted only seconds. Then silence returned. No one spoke. No one moved. Eventually, the machinery continued. The final sequence required manually rotating a massive brass wheel near the observatory center. As we turned it, the entire structure groaned. The floor vibrated violently. Gears accelerated. Ticking intensified, and suddenly the observatory became quiet. Not silent, quiet, as though every sound in existence had moved farther away. Then the floor opened. A circular section of stone slid aside, revealing darkness, and beneath it, movement. At first, I thought it was water, a black liquid flowing through enormous channels below the mountain. Then my light struck its surface, and I realized the fluid reflected images, not reflections, moments. Fragments, people walking backward, buildings decaying then rebuilding. Storms reversing into clear skies, countless events flowing through the darkness like currents inside an underground ocean. Time, the impossible substance described by Voss. The others saw it too. None of us spoke. Words felt inadequate. We descended. Stone steps spiraled downward into a vast cavern hidden beneath the observatory. The mechanical heart waited at its center. It was larger than a cathedral, an impossible structure composed of interlocking gears stretching beyond sight. Massive pendulums swung through darkness. Golden wheels rotated inside transparent chambers. Streams of black temporal fluid flowed through mechanical conduits. Every movement synchronized perfectly, every rotation contributing to some incomprehensible purpose. The machine was beautiful and horrifying, because it should not have existed, because no human hands could have built it, As sunset approached above the horizon, the heart accelerated. Gears spun faster, the cavern vibrated, the black rivers surged. Then we noticed figures standing beside the machine, human silhouettes, watching us. At first they seemed distant, then one stepped forward. I recognized her instantly. Sophia, except Sophia stood beside me. The figure ahead was older, exhausted, covered in scars. She looked like someone who had survived years of suffering. Her eyes locked onto ours, and she screamed, "Leave now." The sound echoed through the cavern. More figures emerged. Versions of ourselves, older, younger, different, dozens, hundreds, some injured, some terrified, some staring blankly, all trapped around the machine. The realization hit like ice water. These weren't ghosts. They were us. Possible futures, alternative outcomes, lives that hadn't happened yet. The heart wasn't creating time. It was processing it. Every potential tomorrow flowing through its mechanisms before becoming reality. And we had entered before the process completed, before tomorrow officially began. The machine had exposed us to unfinished futures. Chaos erupted. One version of Marcus ran toward us begging for help. Another collapsed into dust before reaching the stairs. A third simply stood smiling while blood streamed from his eyes. The cavern filled with overlapping voices, thousands of possibilities speaking simultaneously. Warnings, pleas, screams, predictions. Some versions claimed humanity ended within weeks. Others described futures lasting centuries. None agreed. All were real. Somehow, the heart continued accelerating. The black rivers churned violently. And then I saw Jonas. Not one Jonas, hundreds, crowding the far side of the machine. Different ages, different appearances. Every version staring directly at me. Their mouths moved together, speaking in perfect unison. One must remain. The words echoed through the cavern, again and again and again. The machine was selecting, pruning possibilities, collapsing futures into a single timeline, and somehow we had become entangled in the process. The older Sophia grabbed my arm, not the one beside me, the future version. Her grip felt real, solid. She dragged me toward one of the observation platforms. "There isn't enough time," she said. Her voice shook. "It knows we're here." What knows? She glanced toward the mechanical heart. And for the first time I realized something horrifying. The machine wasn't automated. Something existed inside it, watching. A presence moving between gears, vast, ancient, aware. I caught only glimpses. A shape hidden behind rotating mechanisms. An enormous eye opening and closing within darkness. The same symbol from the map. The same eye concealed inside the painting. The heart had a keeper, and it had noticed us. The future Sophia pointed toward the horizon visible through a shaft above the cavern. The sun touched the edge of the world. Seconds remained before sunset, before tomorrow officially began. "The heart chooses continuity," she whispered. "If we're still here when the transition completes, it incorporates us." What does that mean? Her expression broke. The answer terrified her. It means we become part of the mechanism. Around us, alternative versions began disappearing, pulled toward the machine, drawn into the flowing rivers of temporal fluid. Their screams filled the cavern. Bodies stretched, distorted, unraveled into fragments of moments. The heart consumed them, converting possibilities into chronology. The process had begun. We ran, all of us, toward the staircase, toward escape, toward anything. But the cavern fought back. Reality fractured. Hallways looped endlessly, distances warped, doors opened into different years. I saw cities that no longer existed, faces I hadn't met yet, funerals, births, wars, entire lifetimes flashing past. The heart was breaking apart chronology itself. And then the date changed. May 28th became May 29th, not on clocks, In reality, tomorrow arrived. The transition hit like an earthquake. The observatory shook violently. The machine roared, a sound unlike anything human ears should hear. The scream of time itself being born. The world shattered into white light. When consciousness returned, I found myself lying on a mountainside. Night had fallen. The observatory was gone, collapsed, buried beneath stone and earth. Emergency crews discovered us 2 days later. 3 survivors, me, Marcus, Sophia. No sign of Jonas. No trace of the mechanical heart. Authorities dismissed our account as trauma-induced hallucination. The mountain showed evidence of a landslide. Nothing more. The journals disappeared during transport. The painting vanished from museum storage. Records became fragmented, contradictory, incomplete, almost as though someone or something was erasing evidence. For months, I tried convincing myself it had all been impossible. A nightmare. Mass hysteria, psychological contamination. Then the packages began arriving. No return address, no explanation. Inside each package sat a small brass gear, identical to those from the observatory. Alongside every gear was a photograph. Different locations, different dates, different versions of me, standing somewhere I had never been, doing things I had never done, living lives I had never lived. The latest package arrived yesterday. The photograph showed an older version of myself, standing beside the mechanical heart. His face looked exhausted, broken, trapped. The back, written in my own handwriting, were 6 words. Words that have kept me awake ever since. Tomorrow is beginning earlier each year. I don't know what happened beneath that mountain. I don't know what the heart truly was. I don't know whether Elias Voss built the observatory or merely discovered something ancient already waiting there. But I know this. Sometimes just before midnight, I hear gears turning beneath the walls of my house. Slow, steady, patient, and occasionally, when I glance at a clock, I catch the date changing a fraction of a second before it should. Only for an instant, a tiny jump forward, a brief glimpse into the next day, as if tomorrow is leaking, as if something inside the darkness is struggling to contain it. And every time that happens, I remember the countless versions of Jonas staring from across the cavern. I remember their warning, one must remain. Lately, the gears beneath my house have been getting louder, and last night, for the first time, I noticed fresh scratches on my bedroom wall, deep grooves carved into the plaster, the same marks we found beside Jonas's abandoned flashlight. This morning I discovered a journal entry written inside one of my notebooks. I don't remember writing it. The ink looks years old. The handwriting is mine. The message contains only a single sentence. A sentence that terrifies me more than anything we witnessed beneath that mountain. Because if it's true, then the heart is still running, and it's getting closer. The sentence reads, "The next time the date changes, you won't be watching it happen. You'll be inside it."